Good, beautiful morning. Good, beautiful morning. That's about all the personality that I can summon for that. Feels kind of goofy so far, but it's going to be one of those things, I think, that's just going to be really integrated. Just good, beautiful morning, people. There, that's better. That's better. You know, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it's almost like you just don't really want to be as happy or whatever. Last night, yesterday, I had a whole bunch of thoughts. This sky was so cloudy with thoughts everywhere about everything. And I had been out doing some work, and I have to saddle up my dragon to fly out into the skies to inspect these clouds and to fix them. And sometimes I forget that this dragon is my own construction, and I think that it's me. But I exist also without the dragon, and the dragon, when he comes home, oh man, his tail's knocking shit over all over the place, and the breath is so hot, and he burns everybody, and it's not a happy thing, and it's not a happy place. It's not content. So yeah, sometimes I forget to get off the dragon and put him to bed before I go inside. If you haven't figured it out, the dragon, and the way I'm thinking about it, is well, I guess there might be many dragons. No, there's basically just one main dragon, and it's myself. Not the self, not I. It's the am part of it. It's everything here. It's the body. It's the persona. It's the personality. It's all of the positives and all of the negatives. All of the emotional possibilities. All of the humility, and all of the cockiness and arrogance. It's all of that, and it's all these layers that make up this being, an artificial construction, though, because before this dragon was built to what it is, I still existed. I still was. And so I saddle up my dragon, and I go out to interface with society, and sometimes it scares the shit out of them. It's a fire-breathing dragon with these big wings, and a lion's mane, and yeah, just like. But sometimes it's a really gentle dragon too. It's like Pete's dragon, Pete's dragon was awesome. And I'm not talking about the new movie. I haven't seen this live action Pete's. Was it totally live? Yeah, it was like with CGI and stuff. I'm talking about old school Pete's dragon, the cartoon, And then there's Puff the Magic Dragon. He was a sweet little dragon. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff, or something like that. I remember my kindergarten teacher, Miss Stella Moreno. She would play guitar for us in class, and she played that song one time. And she probably played it a lot of times. But I'm going to say one time because I only remember that it has happened. Excuse me. What if this message? Puff the magic dragon lives by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Picker, Lord that rascal Puff. Oh dear. Come on, come on. Okay. Sorry, my wife messaged and had to respond. You can't ignore people that you love. You know, if you're ignoring the people that you love, then are possibly also ignoring yourself. You do not ignore these other people, because these other people, the people that you love, are you. You cannot ignore this. What you can say that you are a person, and so because you are a person, then you don't need any other person, or no other person is as important as you. Well, you know what? You are not a person, because the person does not exist. The person is construct of the mind and the body, and a construct of all of these things that we think are so important. But before we ever knew of any importance, before we ever ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we still were, and we were perfect. And then we ate of this fruit, and now everything in this life has got to be, this is me and this is them, this is other, this is that, this is those, and the that and the those, we do with them whatever we want. We destroy the land, and we make it into little keepsakes and jewelries and things like this. Or we destroy the land and we make it into other gases to go into the air, to make it difficult for plant life to be. And we say, oh, the plant life is not important, only is important the animal life, because we want him to eat the animals. And we will not answer this phone call right now. And then we say, why not eat the animals? Because the animals taste good, so we all eat the animals. But we eat the animals. Then we take on their consciousness. We take on their fears. We take on their adrenaline. We take on their anger. We take on their very essence, except for their knowledge that they are not different from other. That all in the world is one thing which must be cultivated and taken care of, not one thing which can be taken off from the one thing. Because if you take infinity off of if you take a piece of infinity off of infinity, even a piece of infinity is infinity. So how can it be that any one person or any one animal or anything is only of everything in existence? Watch, I show you, I prove to you. I cover my eyes and you will disappear. Maybe you didn't disappear to you, but do you see yourself anyway? If you are only looking at me and you're taking my perspective as being the perspective of whatever, of the paradigm under which we are thinking. Then, when I cover my eyes and you disappear, you do not exist. But I do exist still, from this. But from the standpoint of you, I cover my eyes, you disappear. You go into my thoughts, I don't exist. It's something like this. I don't really know. It was thought I had 15, 20 minutes ago. As you can tell, sometimes I like to just put on some different voice. Some voice are similar to other voice. I'm not sure what voice was I was doing. I think maybe it was something like this. Like this? Like this. Something like this. I do not know. I like Russian accent. Russian accent is very sexy accent. Yes, very sexy, comrade. It's very sexy in a kind of dominant fashion. Dominant fashion, you understand? But it is very hard not to love. Love? Love? I don't know what that word was coming, that pronunciation was coming from. It's very difficult to not have a certain amount of love and admiration for a French accent, even though the French people have multitude of accents. Right. And then if you go down into the south of France, they start talking about Dijon mustard. Because Dijon mustard comes from the south of France. Not that that's South of France accent. This is a very histrionic version of a south of the U.S. Bible Belt. Apple pie and sweet tea. And bless her soul. Oh, that girl is as dumb as a box of rocks, bless her soul. When I first moved out here to Tennessee from California, I started hearing that kind of thing, and I was like, did you really? Did you really just say that? It's as if saying bless her soul or bless her heart just immediately makes everything all better again. I completely forgot my story earlier. So I was sitting on the porch last night, and I had been saddled up on my dragon, and I forgot that we're two separate beings. Well, the dragon isn't really a being because the dragon can't have any motivation without me. But I forgot that I am not just Dragon Man. Whoa. I had all of these thoughts that were just taking control. My mind was taking me and throwing me all around here like this, because when the separation of the artificial construct is forgotten, then I really become the dragon, or the lion, or the bear, or any of the different vehicles to run around this creation with. And I'm not saying any of this to be like, you know, look at me, look at me. I'm saying this because I know that all y'all are the same. All y'all are the same way as this. But I was sitting on my porch last night and seeing this, and then I'm seeing all the thoughts and everything, and then all of a sudden I remember, wait a minute, wake up. And then I was fine. It was really weird. It was like a, I don't know, almost a transcendental moment, for a time. There will be other times when the mind will take control. I know this, it happens. But this time it was just like, oh yeah, that's right. That's who I am, motherfucker. That's who I am, motherfucker. I just am. And then this morning I was thinking about it, and I was talking to Mary, my wife, about it, and I was saying that anytime there are positive thoughts about either the self or others, those positive thoughts are keep it going. Those positive thoughts are a good thing. I mean, positive thoughts about oneself, they raise the personal vibration. If you got a whole sky of thoughts, okay, if your mind has all these thoughts going back and forth, it may be that it's only the negative thoughts that you see highlighted in this sky. But for every negative thought, there is an equal and opposite positive thought. So even if we can't see that, we know that it's there. So keep looking, keep flying around the cloud. Don't get caught up in this part of a thought and thinking, well, my mind is trying to show me something. My mind is trying to show me something I need to learn from, something that I need to change somehow. But if that's not manifesting a cloud of positive thought about oneself, then if it's self-deprecating, if it's and if it's self-deprecating and self-defeating and accepted by the awareness as being the truth, then that's when the degradation begins. But if we know that it's there, we don't have to accept it. We don't have to be like, yeah, this horrible thought about myself, it must be true because it's coming from my mind. Because the mind plays horrible, nasty tricks. Horrible, nasty tricks. The mind will convince the being that it doesn't exist. That's the mind's the mind, when left to its own resources, that's its purpose. It wants to further its own life by sucking the energy out of the essence of the person. And the mind is that gateway, and that energy can then be put into the person and the personality to make everything even more separate and less clear. So, if we have one of these thoughts, we don't have to accept it. We keep going around because we know that there's going to be an equal opposite positive thought. And it's that equal opposite positive thought that we can rest in, because positive thought is the thing that that promotes growth. Even sometimes negative thoughts can be put out through artistic creation, but that artistic creation is, although it was charged by a negative thought, it became something positive and turned back around. And I have to do this with my hands, because I have to be able to visualize. And well, I'd love to be able to visualize. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's like the biggest, bestest, baddest part about being a kid. You know, kids just this wild imagination. And so many things thought. You know, they say kids say the darndest things, right? Why do kids say the darndest things? Well, because they haven't been conditioned to think that some of the things that they could say are bad things that they shouldn't say. So they just say stuff all the time. You know, when I was let me take a sip of tea here. All right, how about some, full exposure here. By the way, I'm thinking about, I have been thinking about constructing which I guess means that it's already being constructed. I am developing a stage act, basically, a one-man act, which will be part music, part flying through the cloud of thought, the sky of clouds of thoughts, and just sharing that through like conscious stream of speech. And then music. I said music. Like personal stories. There's the third part of it. Personal story type of things. And I was thinking about thinking it should be called full exposure or indecent exposure. But then like X out the in part of indecent. Make it decent exposure. At any rate, this may end up being a part of it. So when I was a little kid, I think my mom tells me I was 4 or 5 years old. She had a friend of hers from work was over. His name was Vern. And Vern and I were sitting on the couch in the living room. Mom was in the kitchen getting some food or something, I don't know. And she hears from in the kitchen, she hears me go, "You know, Vern, sometimes my penis gets as big as my finger." Meanwhile, Mom's in the kitchen doing all she can to not be cracking up. I'm sure of it. Because what the fuck? Oh, so many things as a parent go through the mind. First of all, the appropriateness of your kid saying this. Second, the embarrassment of coming to the realization that yes, your son has a penis, and that penis is going to become erect, and it's going to be an interesting thing for him. But third, just the simple fact that none of this is known to a child that's 4 or 5 years old, that it's not okay to just say something like this. And the best part about this story is that Vern turned to this young man and said, You know what, Jens? Sometimes mine does too. And that was the end of the conversation, at least as far as my mom has recounted any of it to me. That was the end of the conversation. Oh, kids say the darndest things. There's no filter. There's no need for a filter. We haven't taught them yet, what they shouldn't say. What they should think is like a wrong thought or a bad thought. What if we never taught them? What if we never taught a kid that it was wrong to say something? Of course, I guess in order to do that, you'd have to like live out in the middle of nowhere without any contact with any other people, because once you get two or more people, speech itself is just a conspiracy between two or more brains, two or more minds. I'm not talking. I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you. I'm making noise, man. Sometimes I like to change my voice so that it's prettier noise. And I'm always trying to do my best to keep it vibrating well. But it's just vibration. All I'm doing is making the air shake. And then it's going, right now, it's going into this cell phone, which is converting it into electric impulses and zeros and ones, which, by the way, the one and the zero, the whole binary code thing, yeah, it's a metaphor for the universe. Remind me to tell you about that later. It sends these zeros and ones through the power of radio waves. Is it radio waves? Or are they light waves? They're not light waves. Maybe they're light waves. It goes out, bounces off these satellites. It goes ping, 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 pong, pong, ping, ping. And it comes around and it goes through all these different things. It's just as electricity. And then it comes through the air into your cell phone, and it on something called the diaphragm. Yes, the diaphragm. No, not a contraceptive device, don't be ridiculous. But a diaphragm nonetheless. The diaphragm vibrates. The vibration of the diaphragm comes out through the speaker, and then it comes into your ear, which is the reverse of that. It has a diaphragm, which then sends electrical impulses to your brain. So really, all I'm doing is making electricity travel through the air by virtue of these beautiful vocal cords. Such a beautiful thing. You can go, used to be able to get a lot higher. I mean, with my voice. Yeah. Wanna take you higher. I'm not talking. I'm just sending electrical impulses to your brain that you agree means the same thing that my brain says. And we're almost at the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to say shalom, shalom, salam, salam, peace. Love you. Bye.